Yeah, we are getting started right now in 3, in 2, and in 1. And welcome everybody. Put your soda up in the air. Make sure you drink enough fiber, so you have to wee. How many times you plan on weeing during this Framecast? I'm glad that I'm starting off the last Framecast of the year talking about weeing. Thank you, Xandy. I appreciate it.
I mean, from you to me, it's my heartfelt contribution.
What is this conversation? Why?
I don't know. It is the best start of the entire year. It's indicative of this hour. Xeno, how are you doing? How's things going with you today? And how do you enjoy it?
Confused and constipated because I don't have enough fiber in my soda. And, yeah. Also, I look like a fucking vampire because, how not much of my face you can see.
Speaking of someone who just looked like a vampire with all the fire effects going around him, Joey, how are you doing today?
Hey, dude.
Oh,
what's up? How's it going?
You're a little delayed, but I think that's on your end. That's all right.
It is, and I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get the stream pulled up, and my computer hates me.
It's fine. It's just for people that might be watching that may be like, oh shit, is my computer out of sync? Is my thing? No, it's on us. But that's all right because we can hear you, we can see you. That's all good. So,
but we can't feel you.
Yeah, what we're gonna do about that?
Well, ask for consent first.
I was gonna say, you be careful.
So today we have Framecast 66, which is the last Framecast of 2020, and because of that, I wanted to do something special. We wanted to do something special, something called the yearly Framecast show or something. I was like, let's give it a fun name. Let's look back at the year 2020 with the boys, with Xandy and Joey. We have a couple of topics as well that we want to go through. There's a lot of surprises throughout today, so I think I should start off with the first one straight away. We are going to have an award ceremony at the end, which people might be included in. It will be fun. We'll be looking back at the rest of the year 2020. For the rest of it, I've been working on this until the last minute, so I'm kind of free flowing it. What have I missed so far? Oh shit, we haven't rolled the intro yet. Let me go and roll the intro.
We've been doing this for a year and a half, and what the hell?
What?
Oh, that is... Holy shit. Holy fucking shit. Oh my fucking god.
So welcome everybody to the yearly Framecast show.
Oh, that was fucking glorious.
Our anime is gonna get so many seasons.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait for the tournament arc.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be short though. The tournament arc.
Oh my god.
We gotta have a tournament arc. Oh man, oh man, oh man.
What is our tournament arc? It's probably I was thinking view counts and being cheeky. But yeah, we could actually fight, I guess.
Well, I mean, you say fight, I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna lie on someone and then I'll take them out with me because I'm totally not getting up afterwards.
All right, so today let me go for the things that we have because it's a bit of an unusual Framecast, as you may have heard. This is the first time we're doing the yearly Framecast thing, so I have some idea, but at the same time I don't have much of an idea. So normally what we do is I'm all the way down the document. I was like, why do we have questions at the end? Well, we're not at the end. Here we go. I'm at the top of the document. We're gonna have some introduction, which we already have done with the intro. We're gonna talk about some games that we played. We're gonna talk about the community comeback. And then we're going to have some topics, including Cyberpunk 2077 that has been released, but not entirely smoothly. Have you guys been enjoying Cyberpunk? I know, Joey, you've played it quite a bit on stream already.
Yeah, we've just been taking our time with it. So from what I understand, we're coming up to the end of the the main quest line.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just kind of taking it slow, just enjoying the game, and laughing at all the bugs and stuff. Creating as much opportunity as we can to check out kind of the weird ways in which it can kind of glitch out. But yeah, I've been really enjoying it. It's been a lot of fun. it, again, it has been very buggy, but I don't think that hasn't like really detracted from how fun the game is or how kind of immersive the world is. Well, I guess, okay, that's not quite fair, but but yeah, I've been really enjoying it.
Mm-hmm. That's great to hear. Xandy, have you been? Oh, actually, you're taking a sip right now. That is actually custom of the Framecast. I'll ask you a question the moment you're taking a sip at the most inconvenient time. I do that to Drew so many times, right?
Practice. It's a calling, and I am a professional.
Yeah.
I haven't played CyberPunk at all. I've been too busy drinking this soda that has 36% of your daily fiber in it. So I thought it was important to inform everyone that I'm gonna have to pee like a minimum of 15 times during the Framecast today.
Can we get a counter going?
Sorry?
Can we get a pee counter?
Yeah, we should get a pee counter, guys. Keep on.
Oh my god.
Chat. It's chat's job. Pee counter.
How many peepees have we had this stream?
Counter.
Oh
0.
my
Whenever you
God.
see me get up and go to the bathroom at some impromptu moment, pee counter. Yeah, beyond that. This is blackberry vanilla flavor for your information. I'm sure you care deeply about that, considering the context I've just given you.
Yeah, totally.
So
yeah, man, I've been playing Warframe and Hades and Genshin Impact.
Ooh.
You asked me what I've been playing, right?
Yeah.
And then I told you I was going to go pee 15 times. So
Yeah.
that's what I've been playing.
You're more on point than I am when I'm being asked questions, so I really appreciate that, especially towards the end of the year come around. Actually, like Genshin Impact, like what are you up to right now? Because like I feel a lot of people have moved away from Genshin. I'm still playing it. I still think it's kind of fun. But what are you up to right now? Because I'm adventure rank like 34 or something. I'm just doing mostly dailies and stuff, and just the event quest recently, but not much more than that.
I'm adventure rank 48. I have done almost every single quest in the entire game. I did all the Mondstadt quests, and I have 2 more Liyue quests. And then I think that's it for like the game's coded content. There are a few more world puzzles I haven't done. But I wanted to get through all of that because I want to get to focus on Dragonspine. I think it's going to be fun. Yeah, I like it. I haven't really gotten into the artifact RNG grind yet that much. So I'm enjoying it a lot. I have every 4-star character except Razor. So I have tons of characters to build out. And I'm at the part of the game where you get to actually use them because you have enough resources to level up other characters a significant amount. And yeah, it's fun. The team building has continued to not disappoint. It is a very, very fun game to make builds for. I also like how penetrable it is. People ask you what your build for a character is, and it takes like 2 seconds to explain what it is because there isn't like a ton of oblique things, and yet the builds are actually depthy and interesting and fun to talk about. I mean, I think they are. So yeah, I've been having fun with it. I don't like streaming it. OBS won't detect it as a game, so I can't get it to properly anyway. But besides that, that's like my only complaint. It's good. The developers are doing fine too. They not perfect, but yeah, I'm happy overall. I'm having fun. I do, play it like dailies, and then I play a little more and then jump off. But I don't have that much time right now, so it fits pretty well.
Yeah, no, I find it too. Like when I started out, like I was falling behind on the adventure rank quite a bit, and then I decided to do my dailies, and because of that, I could keep up with adventure rank and keep on doing the quests, and that keeps it interesting for me. The moment there's like the quests are all gone, and I wasn't really into like the daily like activities you can do, then like it gets a bit stale. Other than that, I still enjoy it. Drew, are you still playing Genshin right now, or have you kind of?
No, I in all honesty, I kind of lost interest, mostly because the co-op side of things doesn't really exist as of yet. I mean, when they bring more into it, then I'll probably go back to it and things. But I've just been playing, CyberPunk when I can, and World of Warcraft.
I am. The thing with CyberPunk is, I don't know whether we are ready to go kind of into it. So there are some topics that we can get back to. There are some comments we can get back to, but I think that we might want to jump into CyberPunk first, given that there's a lot to talk about with that. And a lot of the comments are from like last week sort of thing. So it would be something that Xeno and I would have context with. And I think with Cyberpunk, it was something that last week Drew and I spoke about, where it's like there was so much hype and anticipation, and how could this go wrong, or how could this not go wrong because there was so much hype and anticipation. And then I downloaded on PC, and it wouldn't start on my PC, and I downloaded an Xbox, and it runs on Xbox, but only just. So, of your performance, or like your Cyberpunk experience, let's not get too much into the spoiler territory, because there's probably going to be still people that want to play it and don't know about it. But given that Joey is almost towards the end of the story content, how has your like early and like this week's experience been with Cyberpunk?
So again, I've been really enjoying it. I think one important thing to bring up that anytime somebody asks me about bugs is that different people have different like bug tolerance. Some people don't have the ability to like laugh at a visual bug. For them, it breaks immersion and they can't do that, and it's just like, okay, well, this is just not the game I wanted. I do think that like no matter how hyped a game is, I think it's really unrealistic to expect a game, any game, to release these days without day one bugs. And I think performance wise, it's as soon as you start to play it, it's pretty obvious that there's a lot of improvement that they can do. And they've said that they're going to be, they've got eyes on making those improvements, on trying to like optimize it. There's the whole like debacle with like next gen consoles and everything. But I mean, I'd be lying if I said any of those bugs ruined the game for me. I have had a couple that have been like, I've had to like reload my last save because I was stuck in like scanning mode or whatever. But gameplay wise, it's super fun. It's super duper fun. It's really for me, it has a lot of the same vibe as like Watchdogs, where like everybody that you pass by, they give you like a little bit of information about them, like this person is vegan, or this person failed to make their child support payments, or like some little piece of information that like kind of tells a small story about that person, and those stories are available for everybody in the city that you're in. And Cyberpunk gives me a lot of that same vibe. It's like you pass by somebody and they say something and you're like, okay, there's a story there that's kind of interesting. Like I wonder what they're talking about. And that's something that's a big part of Cyberpunk that I get a lot of fun out of. And it's, I don't know, I haven't encountered any bugs like relevant to that, so I don't know. But I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's a lot of fun. Gameplay is a lot of fun. Combat's a lot of fun. Story is really cool. It's really interesting. The characters are have varying degrees of depth. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun.
I'm glad. Like, well, one thing which I think is really cool to hear from you is the link you put between it and Watchdogs. Like, I really enjoyed Watchdogs, even though people historically upset that like it wasn't a great game or something because it didn't live up to expectations. But I really enjoyed that game, and I opened up this game and I was like, I see things from Watchdogs which I really liked, especially what you say, the little details, the hacking elements. I quite enjoyed that. Drew, how far have you gone in Cyberpunk?
I can tell you I am, 32 hours of gameplay experience. I haven't just focused on like the main core narrative. I have just gone off and done side things. And it does feel that every quest that you're doing, every like little bit of story, it does feel like it's had the same level of attention to detail that the main single player campaign has had. So you really can't distinguish the difference between, oh, this is a side quest and this is the main plot, because you're still going out, you're experiencing locations that you would never see in the main campaign at all. I love the fact that you're doing side campaigns and things. You rarely go to the same place twice, which is absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, it's a little immersion breaking when you're driving somewhere and then all of a sudden your motorbike just starts to clip into the ground a little and you're juddering around and you don't know why the fuck this is happening, and then all of a sudden you're back to normal. And likewise, there are some bugs that I know Joey and I have both had where people are walking around with guns in their heads, but like it is super immersive. And even though a little immersion breaking, I have never experienced any of the problems that some players have had where they're flying through the sky, or their car is just suddenly fallen through the floor. Never had any of that.
Okay, well,
Okay, I have had that one where like you're standing on a surface and then suddenly you fall to the surface below it. I have had but again, it's easy to laugh at, I feel. That's just me.
All right, so I've not gotten very far in the story. I've only done about an hour or and change on the gameplay for recording, and then afterwards it was like very busy, so I haven't been able to get back into that. And I also feel that, given that it's only out for a week, let's not focus in this Framecast a lot on the story, so that people can enjoy the story as they may please, because it's only been a week. And given that Xandy also hasn't played it yet, I think it would be not wise for us to continue on the story element of it. However, let's focus on a bit of the topic about a bit of what has been going on around this game's release, which was like a very hyped up release. I think for me personally, this has been, as far as I can remember, the most hyped game across the board sort of thing, where I can't remember within such a large community, also within such a large mainstream space, where people were looking forward so much to a game, because so many people knew about Cyberpunk. Now, that might just be because I'm part of certain communities that happen to just like all be very focused around Cyberpunk, given that, I mean, Warframe community people seem to really enjoy Cyberpunk as well. But I feel it's also been leaked more and more with other channels. Like, there are so many channels. I don't know if you guys saw that on YouTube. I don't know how much YouTube you watch, but I saw so many channels which never did gameplay all of a sudden do Cyberpunk gameplay videos. Or was I the only one that saw that?
I mean, I had Poods pop up in my recommended once. That was like only storyline, no fun here. That was I think the only thing on YouTube that I like.
No, I had one tech channel and one podcast channel who all of a sudden started doing Cyberpunk gameplay videos, and I was, what? What is this? But that just shows to me like how big the scale is. So let's go over here. Cyberpunk 2077 releases to a lot of bugs and glitches, especially on older platforms. So last week, Cyberpunk 2077 released after a long wait. However, it hasn't been all smooth. Most notably, there have been many performance issues, especially with current or last gen, the way you want to call it, the consoles, the Xbox One and the PS4, and older PCs. I've not been able to run the thing. I've not been able to run Cyberpunk on my PC. Like, I got the flatline thing. I haven't tried in the last couple of days, but that was quite surprising to me. The graphics on these machines look far from what was initially seen in trailers. CD Projekt Red has also said that they apologize for not showing last-gen footage in trailers before, and people have been experiencing game-breaking glitches as well. As a response, Cyberpunk has now apologized for not showing the last-gen footage. They do offer a 30-day refund window for people that have bought it on the last-gen consoles if they're not satisfied with their purchase, and also I think an investor meeting or something just leaked where they promise to fix all these issues within the next couple of months, regardless of the costs. So yeah, go ahead.
I want to jump on this. So there's a bit of a problem with the 30-day refund thing. It's also subject to where you bought it from. And for example, the retail shop in the UK called Game, they are not taking back any copies of the game unless it has not been opened, right? Which is, I'm pretty sure, breaking trading practices laws in the UK. Additionally, PS4 and Xbox One, CD Projekt Red promised, oh yeah, we'll give you refunds and things, but you have to go through your normal channel unless you have problems. But Sony and Microsoft are, especially Sony, like refusing to give refunds. There are the odd case where yes, they're able to give they have graciously given refunds, but a lot of them are standing by, like, this is our returns policy. We're not allowing you to get a refund, even though the game has come out in a state. And apparently there was supposed to be there's supposed to be a special exemptions for CyberPunk, where CD Projekt Red spoke to the spokespeople at or liaisons with Microsoft and Sony to say, yes, when it comes to CyberPunk, extend the returns policy. Don't consider your normal restrictions, and that hasn't actually happened. And CD Projekt Red are the ones that are getting the flack for it, even though they can't control what Sony and Microsoft and retail stores do.
That is rather unfortunate, actually, especially when they've spoken to these people and it's not happening. And it's not a great situation for both the customer and for CD Projekt Red. I remember last stream where I was saying I'm not going to pre-order this because the last pre-orders I've done all released as buggy, messy things, being Anthem and Andromeda. Did you, both Joey and Drew, pre-order the Cyberpunk, or did you buy it on the day itself?
It's on the table. Xeno bought the game for me. I was
Yeah, I kind of did, but I think I got Joey's like 2 days before it was due out, and mine was like the day before it was due out, just so I could preload it.
Is it something like, I mean, you've both said that the bug experience wasn't game breaking. Is it so far so a purchase where you're happy with?
Yeah, totally. Like I've not experienced anything in Cyberpunk 2077 that has made me just rage quit the game entirely. Like, I'm still playing it. I'm still getting weird shit where, like, I'll summon my bike. Car goes flying because like my bike spawned underneath the car. But nothing has. But to extend that question further, sorry, Joe, but Xandy, have you seen anything that's deterred you from considering buying it?
Yes. I fully intend to not even touch the game for as long as possible, hopefully a year or more, because even though I think that I would probably feel the same way you both have been saying, where the bugs are not going to ruin my experience of the game. The way that I feel about it is that, like, I have other, not that you don't, but I have other games I will enjoy playing in the meantime. It's not like I there's nothing I would like to play besides it. And so I view playing it early as kind of permanently ruining or damaging my experience of it. And I want, like, the one first time that I can never get back to that I play it to be like the most perfect version of the experience that I can get. And so obviously, like, I don't want to wait an unreasonable amount of time. Like, I'm not going to wait like a decade. Then I'm sure it would be better than if I waited a year in some way. But that's, it's silly. So obviously with some min-maxing, but I personally really don't like playing things when they first come out. And the few times I do, I've paid for it. A simple example is that in Genshin Impact, I played it when it launched, and it didn't have key binding support. It had no key binding support. You just couldn't do key bindings, which is preposterous. For like 6 weeks, I want to say 6 weeks on controller or PC. That was a huge pain. The B and the A buttons were reversed because they are in China, as I understand. And that's fine, but you couldn't just swap them, which is very stupid. And normally I would want to just wait, but I decided not to. And as much as I've enjoyed my time with that game, I regret it. I wish that I'd had the experience in all its glory without having I'm going to say a lesser version of it. And so I agree with, like, Joey, you said earlier about how you feel like none of it really, there are some people where it just immediately breaks their immersion and there's nothing you can do. And I'm not really one of those people. Like, I can kind of laugh at, like, there's this ridiculous thing happening, but I'm curious if you, like, I still feel like I would still rather it wasn't that way. I would still enjoy it more if that wasn't there. And I really want that version of the experience, especially for a game that looks as mind-blowing as this game does to look at. I want it to hold. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I feel.
I
I see
definitely
someone in
get
chat
that.
saying always pre-order if you know you're going to enjoy the game no matter what, and that's just like not a real thing. I don't feel.
Yeah, yeah,
No.
no, I completely agree with that.
That doesn't exist. Like
Yeah.
that is a non-existent concept. Like there's no such thing as enjoying the game no matter what. Like trust me, they can mess it up for you. So I don't know. I'm like the anti pre-order. Like don't even play it when it comes out. Like don't even buy it when it's
Yeah.
released. But I mean Genshin Impact was free, so that's also a little different. But anyway, I hope that makes sense.
I'd also say that for most consumers, for like the general consumer, you lose nothing by waiting. You lose absolutely generally you stand more to gain by waiting than you do by like jumping in on it first thing. The main reason why you would want to jump in on it first thing is like if you want to participate in kind of the culture that's building around it.
Yes.
I do disagree with that because I know, like, I used to know so many people that they had to watch Game of Thrones the sort of like the second it aired because they didn't want to get the spoilers that were all over the internet, right? I'm pretty sure that there are people out there that like myself, I want to experience the narrative firsthand. If I find out what the ending is, like before I'm able to complete the narrative, I'm just going to be like, well, fuck. So I do feel that there is kind of some, at least for me personally, and maybe for others, that there is importance to be there on the front line to make sure that no one else can spoil it for me.
That's fair. I honestly, I hadn't considered
spoilers are good. That's a good point.
Yeah, I feel for me a lot of times because I tie games very closely to YouTube and Twitch. It's right now when the game comes out, the game is relevant sort of thing. So I was very aware. I don't pre-order. The last pre-orders that I've done were Anthem and Mass Effect Andromeda, and then I was just no, never again. You can always buy it when it's out, and I don't need that 15 minutes faster or something that it takes me to like buy it if I need to. But because of that, because of the way that I tie it into the relevancy sort of thing, it's going to be a good experience for me, whether it's good or bad sort of thing, because if the game is really buggy and really game breaking, it also makes for interesting videos or streams where it's, hey, look at this, the game that was supposed to be looking really good is actually really, really bad. That doesn't mean that I will get the same amount of enjoyment out of it. I do have to say that the game definitely doesn't look the part on an Xbox One S, where I have seen Xbox One S games or previous games which looked way better, where I am really surprised that these 4K machines, which are the current gen consoles or last gen consoles, have such a hard time keeping up. It's just as, I mean, my computer apparently flatlines every time I open the game up. So I find it really curious why this game looks so different when it comes to average modern day hardware.
Well, I will say one thing that, I mean, take this for what it's worth, kind of, take it with a grain of salt. One of the things that I've heard a lot of people touting about CyberPunk 2077 is that they built it for future hardware. That it's meant to look better as hardware gets better to keep up with it. Now, again, take that with a grain of salt. That's just kind of just some marketing, some some marketing verbiage there, but that's one thing they've been saying. So I think it's important to keep that in mind, whether or not you think it's accurate.
I've heard an argument too a lot, even though people on the contrary say that, well, it was mostly in development during the PS4 and Xbox One era, so it's curious that there are issues with that, especially also with the current stock issues that I think the ray tracing only works on the highest end ray tracing cards, so 3080, 3090.
That's not true. That's not true.
Not true? Oh,
not true.
Wrong one. So how's it been for Mr. I built my entire PC for this one game? How is it looking on your machine, purpose built?
So I don't know if it's like specifically the monitor I'm on, because obviously I'm currently back home at my folks and things, but I will say that the contrast in the lighting isn't as good as some of the demoed reels and things. That I think is what you really need the 3094. However, the texture mapping, the ray tracing on the environment stuff, it all looks pretty damn top notch, right? Like the number of times I hit a door, which is like a glass door, and it's actually reflecting what's behind me. You can't see yourself in the reflections, unfortunately. But the number of times I'm like, aha, there's a thing over there, and you open the door, it's like, nope, I was looking behind me. Never mind, sorry, my bad. I'm good. So the ray tracing, it's fine with like the 20 generation graphics cards. So it's not as, you don't need the previous graphics card ever to play this game. So.
AceSymptomatic says, I am idly wondering if an early access tag would change some perception of 2077. Do you guys think, number one, that would, and number two, that they, even if that would change the perception, whether people would have accepted that if instead of it releasing right now as release, it would have released as 2077 early access after all delays?
Who wants to take that
tough
first?
question.
Go for it, Xandy.
Well, no, I was just gonna say at first I was gonna say that I thought, we were saying, oh well, what if they released it as an early access game, and I was thinking, oh well, early access would be really validated maybe by this big release having that tag, and then the way you worded it, Michelle, you said like, after all this time waiting, they release it and say early access. I was like, oh no. Yeah, do that. Let's not do that. Maybe that's a bad idea. I do still think though that it would have industry implications, but I'm not sure. You're talking about just how it would affect this game. I don't know. It would mean something to me. Something that I've had a little bit of trouble with games lately is. Because so many games now are trying to do the game as a service thing, a lot of the time when a game releases, it sort of begs the question, is there going to be more content? Are there going to be more updates or no? And it's fine if there aren't. It just, Hades, I don't think is going to get more updates, and that's fine. It's complete. That's fine. But I'm curious, you know what I mean? Like, I care if there are more updates. I would buy them. So I don't know. So that's a thought as well. Cyberpunk, as I understand it, probably will have DLC, kind of like Witcher-esque DLC. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's my thought.
I think that one thing which you mentioned, that's also why I mentioned like after all delays, because what you said about the early access tag, like I think if this game came out and it was early access, everyone would be like, oh my God, this is great. Because then people would just look at what do we have? What's the story like? What is this game going for? And and the bugs are just part of early access. However, if it would have released on early access, there is this history of it being in the works for so long and being delayed so many times that I really wondered, like, it sounds like such a good idea if it would have come out and just said Cyberpunk 2077 early access. But then I just can't imagine the reaction if on December 9th they just said, oh yeah, tomorrow it's not going to be the official, it's just going to be early access. I think people just like would have also flipped their shit. So
I don't know. Like, I mean, isn't Warframe still in beta? Like, okay, out of interest, which one of you bet someone's going to bring this up? Yeah, okay. But like, does it really fucking matter? Like, does it matter if it's in beta? Does it matter if it's early access? Like, I even if it had the early access tag, I still think there'd be plenty of people flipping their shit, right?
Yeah,
if it was for $15, I paid $15 for this buggy piece of shit. It's gonna. A lot of what's happening right now is sensationalism, where people are realizing that there's so much hate for this game. People love to hate things, and content creators are living off of this. I saw a video earlier today because I wanted to make sure that I thought this was going to come up. I saw a video from Angry Joe earlier, and he's highlighting all these problems, right? There was not 2 videos from the same one person, right? So like these bugs that people are experiencing, they're rare. They're not commonplace. But the problem is that so many people are being vocal about it. It feels like you walk down the street, the game implodes on itself, right? It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna quickly say, I think the Warframe and beta thing. I mean, they're taking the piss out of that title. Like Warframe isn't in
Yeah.
beta. That's bullshit. That's not.
Yeah.
That is the exception, and it should just be discarded. It doesn't mean anything. Warframe could call itself anything, and it's just irrelevant. But I think what you said about the money is super relevant, and it's that like people paid for it. You know, so at the end of the day, it's early access is early access, but people paid money, and so they want something for that amount of money. Early access is still a product,
Yeah.
if you pay for it. And I also wanted to corroborate what you said, that a lot of people's perception is gonna at base be that the game is really, really buggy, because that's been, when I say it's been my perception, I know better than to think that's actually how the game is just because that's how it appears. But it's understandable that a lot of people don't know better than to think that. And it's definitely been my input looking at the internet. Like, I've watched a few reviews of this game. I was lurking while Joey was playing this game on a stream. So of course I've seen gameplay of it, but I haven't played it myself. And indeed, if I didn't filter my thoughts about the game, I would think it looks like a buggy mess. Like, it looks really bad. But I'm sure it isn't. I'm sure it's not that bad. They're showing you the clips of when it bugs out. That's not all of the game. I've hardly even seen any gameplay that didn't showcase a bug. So I'm sure there is gameplay like that. I just people aren't showing me it. I mean, Joey is. Anyway, so I totally, a thing that has happened to me is, my base perception from the internet as someone who hasn't played this game is that it is an unplayable mess.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it isn't actually like that.
I think it also that also adds to, when I started the game, it was 1 or 2 days after. I think 1 day after, maybe 2 days after. And I heard before that there were going to be bugs, and on consoles it wasn't going to look good. And so I go into the game with this perception or this idea where I'm let's go take a look at how this works and see if there are even if you're not consciously really focused on finding bugs, you will be more focused on it if you have this idea put in your head where it's a buggy mess, rather than, oh, it's a perfectly brand new spanking game and it's running fairly smooth. And then if you run into a bug, it's like, wow, I did not expect that. Well, that could just be a bug. And now every single bug that pops up is, oh, that is confirmation that they were right. And I think that is something which, especially with people jumping on, what do you say, Drew? Where it's, if there's no 2 clips from the same person, how common even is it?
Yes, I did say that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm affirming. How common even are these bugs?
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. But the bugs, there are bugs. Like, the only bug I've had happen twice was I summoned my bike and it spawned underneath a car, causing a car to go flying up in the air, right? And then just crash next to me. Like, that's the only bug I have ever had twice, right? But at no point in time has the game actually crashed out on me, right? At no time I was like, oh, I'm driving along. Oh, no, the game has crashed. Oh, no. But don't get me wrong. I get it that people want to, they want to have a flawless, perfect AAA experience. But look at Anthem. Look at how Anthem was a train wreck. And Anthem didn't get nearly as much shit for what it was than, at least I don't think it did. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone.
Well, it did to some degree, because it was 6 years in the making as well, or they said it was. But I do think that one of the things that Anthem had going for it was that it was started up as a live service. And I do wonder, in this age of updates, we have this great availability to us where developers can update their game and improve their game even after we have bought it. Where a couple of like decennia ago, you could not, because you got the cartridge and that was the game. And if the game was, they couldn't update it. So now we have this added functionality which allows different things, better things. But at the same time, it also allows people to say, hey, I bought this game for $60 and it has some issues, but it's fine because they'll fix it later. Whereas if you were to buy a game back in the day for $60 and it wasn't fine, you'd be like, what is going on here? Because that's the product. So when it comes to a single player game, I can understand there might be a difference in reaction to versus a live service and a single player game. Is that valid or not?
I think that's just a sign of the industry. That's just a byproduct of innovations in the industry, not necessarily innovations with regard to the technology, but just innovations with I mean, well, sure, yeah, with the technology too. Like, I mean, it wasn't, you know, if you went out and bought a copy of like Abe's Oddworld or something, like there was no way that game could be patched. And now like I mean, it's just a sign of the times. Companies have realized that like, hey, we can spend way less time in development and like way less time like checking for bugs and stuff before release, which means that we can operate on stricter timelines, and that we can, I mean, you know, we can afford to get away with putting less money in something before release, and then we can just release it, see what needs to be fixed, and then just focus our attention on that. So I mean, it's just like I said, it's just it's a byproduct of the industry. It's a sign of the times, I guess. Even on like single player games like this.
But I feel like the problem for me, and the way you said it slightly changed my mind just now, where I was going to say, before you said what you just said, that I feel like the problem is that the industry shifted in a direction where they're kind of taking the piss out of it a little. And it used to be that we'd get a game and then they would improve it afterward, but now, or maybe that's rose-tinted glasses, but it's a thing that could have happened. I don't know if it actually did. But now what happens is they simply don't finish the game, and then it is finished after it's put out. And I feel like that is I had felt like the sort of gray area is whether you genuinely put a thing out and say, if this was all we ever did, if this was in the game cartridge and we can't change it, is this complete and then we're improving it? Or did we not finish it and we're still asking you to buy it and just take it on faith that we'll finish it?
I think you absolutely hit the nail on the head there. And I think it's the answer to that comes from the consumers. It comes from whether or not people are savvy enough to realize, hey, is this game complete? Or is and like awaiting improvement, or is this game unfinished and awaiting like some kind of like, you know, awaiting its completion?
No, and so exactly what you just said made me think about Michel's Anthem example, where I think it was that Anthem was like declared to be a live service game from the start. But the other thing is that I think the consumer was a degree more savvy about that one. It was a game that the writing was a little more on the wall, that like, does it take a rocket scientist to predict that this might be a bit shaky? No, I think that it was much more predictable that this game is going to be up in the air. We don't know whether it's going to turn out well or really bad. The signs were there. Whereas CD Projekt Red is the golden boy of the industry, and I think a lot less people are expecting things to go badly when it's coming from that developer than from Anthem's situation. I think that affects it as well. And when you say, like, are the consumers savvy enough to know? I think the answer is a resounding no, but it's still a spectrum, you know? And I think that Anthem is a game that benefited from the live service thing, but also had a degree, a little more consumer awareness that maybe this would be a little dicier.
I'll be honest, reading a couple of the reviews and some of the Reddit posts and stuff, like I'm legitimately surprised at how many people expected a bug-free experience on day one. I'm legitimately surprised.
One thing I want to jump on is I really feel that your Xandy, your comment about people being more savvy with Anthem. Honestly, I feel it's more people are more savvy with the likes of EA. Right. Again, Xeno, going back to the usual pointing a finger thing. Look at Warcraft 3 Reforged. Right. Warcraft 3 Reforged was highlighted Is what Joey?
No, you said the word and flashbacks. I'm sorry.
Fair point, right? But the whole point was it was advertised to be this amazing product back in 2018, and then when we finally got it, it was just nothing more than a reskin that you had to pay top dollar to get, and like this is not what you advertised us to get. And then so again, a similar thing to CD Projekt Red, but Blizzard were flat out refusing to give refunds. They said, no, it's not within our policy to give refunds and things. Yeah, but you trade within this law, this region, you know, you have to, by law, give us a refund. And it was only when shit had hit the fan so badly that they basically had to give out refunds. Whereas with CD Projekt Red, they seem to have like, yeah, we know we fucked up. If you want a refund, here it is. But we're asking you to be a bit patient.
I wonder if that's. I mean, I do believe that there is a moral difference between these companies, probably, most likely. But I also wonder whether that's not like good PR sort of thing, because at the same time, right now, a lot of the news is all about, oh yeah, bugs and crashes, and they did not show beforehand the last gen looks horrible, and everyone that has the last gen, which is pretty much 90%, I mean, like, it's a random statistics that I'm throwing around, but I believe a majority of the people will be playing this on last gen consoles, because any new hardware is almost impossible to get. So I think it's a very exclusive group of people that have the new generation of consoles, and the majority of people are still on last gen. If the idea among consumers is generally, or the general idea is, oh, this game is horrible in last gen and they lied about it, then that doesn't really sell very well. Whereas if they can turn around the story where it's, yeah, we're sorry, well, we apologize that we didn't show it, we're going to improve it very hard, and if you don't like it, you can get a 30-day money back, you can return your, you can do returns, then that being something which in the news is obviously going to be contrasted against something like Blizzard, which didn't want to take refunds, is also going to be a story which might, even because of the way that they do it, stand out over, instead of this story just being, oh, it's a buggy and glitchy mess on last-gen consoles, it becomes, oh, it's a buggy and glitchy mess on consoles, but they're fixing it with no matter the cost, and if you don't like it, I can get a refund. I think that might also play a part.
Here's a conspiracy theory for the three of you, right?
Ooh.
Given that the phrase it's easier to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission is quite commonplace in a lot of capitalist ventures, whatever. The fact that CD Projekt Red knew what platforms they were selling the game through, they knew what return policies existed on those platforms. Could this have been a ploy to force people, so devil's advocate, a ploy to force people to invest in a faulty product to then finish it later, or not finish it at all?
So yeah, I was Xeno. We exact same thing. So I was about to mention that I think my conspiracy theory for the industry at the moment is that I would use Genshin Impact as an example. Games are developed sometimes in such a way where it feels eerily as though the game intentionally puts things in they know the consumer will push back against. And there's kind of a dual strategy where they intend to capitalize on the relatively good marketing and PR of responding to those complaints. So in other words, they know that there are things in the game the player will complain about, and they've been prepared from the start to do something about them. And they want the PR of, having listened to the players and corrected that thing. People will find problems anywhere. And so I bet the developer sleeps better at night by rationalizing it as though, well, they would just complain about something good if we didn't put something bad in. So we'll put something bad in. And then the other half of the strategy is that you get to kind of see how far you have to make the thing better. So in Genshin Impact, these are monetization strategies. How consumer friendly do we have to make it before people will be happy enough that we don't need to do more? And it feels like a deliberate thing. It feels like the game is designed to accommodate those changes, so that when the consumer complains, they can cash in on listening. And when the consumer continues to complain, they can use statistics to decide if they need to keep making it a little bit better, beyond a certain point. So Xeno, I'm totally on board with you. Unfortunately I don't think this is a conspiracy theory. I think this is a thing that happens, but I understand it sounds a little cloak and dagger to some people. But
No, I think you guys hit the nail right on the head. Pixel in chat said an intentional criticism lightning rod to ensure you know where it'll strike and can ground it quickly. I think that's spot on. I will say I think it's let's make a deal with each other right now. The three of us and also everybody in chat. Let's make it more profitable for devs to release complete games than it is for them to release incomplete games and then complete them later.
So
like
what would that
even
Xandy's
take?
strategy? I think what it would take is maybe waiting at least a couple of days to half a week for reviews to get out. Just like when you buy a new hardware, computer hardware, a lot of times people wait for the reviews to come out before they buy. I also know there's people that pre-order. But for example, one of the things which a female posted in chat was Ghost of Tsushima, which is a game that I played, which I think is an absolutely amazing game. I don't know if any of you have played it. I
No.
don't think so. Okay, so it is a really amazing, kind of like Assassin's Creed, but better than the last two Assassin's Creeds. It's set in Japan, and the story is really great. The open world is fantastic. Like, the game design is amazing, and it's just been a very solid game from day one. And then a couple months later, they came in with a free add-in update, which was a multiplayer mode, which is a 4-player PvE mission and survival extra mode, which isn't like directly tied into the game. It's just in the start menu. You can just go to the multiplayer thing, which is a really great game on itself as well. I've spent more time in that than I have in Anthem, and I think that was a really, really solid game. But how do you find out? How do you find out when a game is solid and when a game is all right but still needs some improvements, which may or may not come? You can only figure that out once the data's in, and the data will only come in sort of thing a couple of days after it has been officially launched, when reviewers can speak without NDAs and you can see more gameplay sessions of it, so you can get a more sophisticated look at everything rather than the short trailers or clips that come out beforehand.
yeah, so Ghost of Tsushima is a fantastic example. I had thought of that myself, but I haven't played any of it, so I don't know how much I can say. But yeah, that's a good example of a game that, looking at review discussion of the game and watching gameplay of the game, it looked so complete. It made me think, oh, this is something that if I could, I might be willing to buy without waiting months. The traditional Xandy wait an entire year or 5 to play the game. I was maybe willing to, I'm not going to be able to play it because I don't have the hardware, but to play this game earlier on because they did seemingly such a good job polishing it. But it makes me think about, of course, it's me, so it makes me think about buildcraft. There are things that I feel like you can't review quickly. And so for some games, largely for Ghost of Tsushima, you have a game that you can wait a few days or a week or two and pretty much know whether the game is complete on release and bug free and whether the developers have done the thing that Joey is saying. I think you can pretty much know that. But there are games where a main thrust of the game is the end game build crafty gameplay loop. And you cannot review that most of the time within a reasonable time frame. It takes months of playing the thing to know, to even have experienced that. And even then, a lot of the time in reviews, that is the element that is the most glossed over. I am not exaggerating when I say that I intend to steer my entire career towards solving that thing because it frustrates me. I feel like I can't use media to decide what I want to consume. I have to take a chance on anything I play because there is no way to know if a game has a complete good, in some objectified way, buildcraft element. It's just impossible to review with that model. And so unless you wait a really long time, you just can't ever know whether the thing, what Joey is suggesting is impossible, I would almost say, for buildcraft games. You need to dedicate your time to only reviewing that one thing, and it takes so long per game that it's like you can't really do, I don't know. So I do think that's a complication. I think there are some elements where to say to the consumer, wait until the reviews are out, is like, okay, you wait a few days. A lot of the time, the consumer has to wait a few days or a few weeks because they just can't buy the new generation consoles, for example. But there are elements of some games that I feel like it's an order of magnitude more difficult. You're really asking the average consumer for something they won't do. I don't know if that makes sense.
To actually expand on what Xandy's saying, I'm in complete agreement. A lot of the problems that I find when it comes to buying the right phone, the right graphics card, the right game, what have you, a lot of the problem comes to the fact that you're waiting for a review, and it's in reviewers' best interests to be there on the front lines as fast as possible, because then they are generating the traffic that the people that are taking their time are not going to receive. So if I go on, I say, yeah, it's the best thing in the world, 10 out of 10. Oh, I'm IGN. It's amazing, and people are, they're going to say, oh, well, they say it's good, therefore it must be good, as opposed to wait even longer. It's exceptionally hard because, again, this is why I like to listen to Yong for all things gaming, news, reviews, whatever he says at the end of his video. Mostly because he takes his time to get the facts straight. He's not ever impervious to bias, but at least when I hear what's coming out of his mouth, I feel I have the full story. Whereas I listen to other content creators that, oh, I want a review on this game, and I get 55 minutes of Coke versus Pepsi. I'm like, what's this got to do with the fucking game? Joey?
To be clear, I'm not to detract from anything that you guys are saying. I think you've made some really valid points. But the intent wasn't to make releasing incomplete games less profitable. It was to make the release of complete games more profitable. So like if there's like Ghost of Tsushima, I've never played it, but like if a game comes out and it is complete on release and it's a winner, right? It's a good game, then like I would totally be willing to like invest in like other DLCs, or like hell, even invest in like some other, I don't know, like other media that's like officially released, where I know that the money would go to the devs, like t-shirts, posters, stuff like that. If the devs have like a t-shirts store on their website or whatever, I would totally be willing to put money into something like that to make sure that game makes more money than the game that was released incomplete.
Or even like tip, for example, like something was. Go ahead.
It doesn't really seem like there's much of an avenue to do that, which again, I would love to do that. That would be really great if I don't know who made Ghost of Tsushima. I haven't. But if they had like a leave a tip thing on their website, if I really enjoyed the game, then like I'd be willing to do that totally, just to make sure that like those practices get standardized and get like that the industry starts to regard that as like, oh, maybe we should like put some more time and energy into this. Maybe we'd make more money.
I think
I don't know.
I think one of the things which Pixel says is something which is more akin to how the games industry will work, because I really like the idea you're bringing forward. I would much more rather see that games like Ghost of Tsushima are getting more support and are doing better because they bring more to the table than games like Anthem. However, one thing that Pixel says is I don't think it's possible to make releasing incomplete games less profitable. Releasing incomplete presents monetary savings in dev-man hours, while every time you fix it, later provides a massive extension and renewal of the media coverage window for that game. Encouraging ongoing purchase rates for the same amount of time, there is just too many separate multipliers, which I think is a really important thing too. One of the things which I was thinking about when we discussed the refund side of things, because I think the refund side of things is rather interesting, because a lot of it comes down to do people buy the game or not? That is the most important thing when it comes to selling a game. Do people buy it or not? As long as it's not a live service game. But even then, most of the time, it's a $60 upfront purchase. And I feel that a lot of people will initially buy a game if they're interested in it, and maybe later on then discover it is a good game or a bad game. And if they then don't go to the process of refunding it, or they don't even have the opportunity to get a refund on it, then that purchase doesn't really make a difference that much from a purchase of someone who purchased a game and was really satisfied with it. And why did this jump onto the refund window? One thing when you were talking about your conspiracy, Drew, that brought my attention, the cyberpunk idea of this refund also makes me think about the Cybertruck, which is this Tesla pickup truck that they showed off a couple of years ago, which looked insane, which looked crazy, which everyone thought was a joke. However, from the day that they showed it off, and also showed it off with OS flaws where the unbreakable windows broke, people could put down $100 for a pre-order. And it was $100 that they could get refunded at any point they liked, and basically have a pre-order in for when this thing comes into production. And the thing hasn't been out yet, and they're still working on it. But the first 2 days, 200,000 people put down $100 for a pre-order. Well, that's pretty much a loan that they pulled out for $2 million without interest, sort of thing, because everyone just put down $100. 200,000 people put down $100 for a pre-order. And how many of those people are going to retract their pre-order before the thing comes into production? And the same thing is also how many people, if you offer this refund window, how many more people are going to buy it because they're like, oh yeah, I mean, I can get a refund on it, and then they buy into it, and how many of those people are actually going to use the refund? I think that when it comes to those, the difference between making incomplete games and complete games successful, it all comes down to how many people buy. And I think that very few people will actually jump out of a game and get a refund and successfully get a refund. That it's really hard to make something which is bad not be as successful if people already buy into it.
I think. All right, everybody, increment the PP counter.
PP counter +1.
So one thing that I want to go back on. Crap, that's really just thrown me now.
I loved how you gracefully rose up with the drinks in hand and then walked out.
Yeah. Crap, what were we talking about? There was something I wanted.
The refund window and people buying into.
No, something Joey said.
Buying.
No, I remember now. No, so I get where you're coming from with this whole tip jar thing. I really do like the idea, but the problem is that there's going to be some fat cat somewhere that is just going to completely pervert the idea. Look at DLCs. The whole point of a DLC was, okay, we do not have the budget to finish this game. However, if you buy it now in an incomplete state, then X months down the line, we'll give you the rest of the game so you can finish your experience. That was the whole point of DLCs. Yet, game publishers, they thought, we can make yet more money. My concern is that this whole, no matter what you come up with, there's going to be some group of assholes that will just pervert the idea and to make yet more money and screw out the developers from making the product that we truly deserve.
Let's see. I think Dariem said something interesting in chat, which I kind of want to read out and hear what you guys think about it. They said, for discussion, I will throw out the absolute horrible state that No Man's Sky came out in originally. The game seems to be good right now. Actually, I will add to that even I've seen stories where the fan base bought a billboard outside of the developer studio to thank them for the state of the game is in right now.
Wow.
But I will never forget that the company tried to obfuscate the work-in-progress state at its release. And every time the player base forgives such business practices, they'll become more common. If studios don't experience backlash, they will do it again and again and again and again. The player base not punishing those practices is at fault for this.
Part of the problem, though, is that... Did you enjoy your pee-pee?
I did. I have another liter of water locked and loaded.
Hell
To
yeah.
PP. Like a large part of the problem though is that some companies need to do these practices of, hey, let's look and lock down the game, yeah, so get it out there, get it like we're all content creators, right? How often have you gone, this is still not perfect, this is still not, I've still got to get that like last 1% done to make it utterly perfect, but instead went, you know what, no one's gonna fucking notice, just push it out the door instead of spending the next 10 days trying to get this 1% done.
I mean, I've
Yeah, I
done
see
it.
what you mean.
Yeah.
I am probably the most aggressive of the four of us at that. My parlay channel is like I just hit record the video, and then whatever you get, I turn off record and put that file on YouTube. Like it doesn't
Yep.
go through an editor. It just where that guy content's up there. And that there is a lot of, like I'll do a second take and think about, is this it's hard to say is it good enough, because it's like I was asked the question, so did I answer the question? But a lot of the time, you have to weigh, like I could do more takes of this and it would get better and better, but is that fair to the other people that asked questions? Is that how I want to use my time? Not to be cold, but like
Yeah.
does it really make it better enough for it to be worth it? And time I take off from doing work does make the work better. So it's not as though it has nothing. It's just like I'm lazy and don't want to do it again. Like it will make other work better if I take some time for myself. So I understand what you're saying. I feel like just by the same token that you say, like we've all experienced this thing where you think, oh, well, people notice the 1% more,
Yeah.
work or whatever. By the same token, I think you and I both know, like, I have a pretty strong internal conscience of, like when I'm not being honest about something and then I think, oh, I need to do better. Like I'm not really putting enough effort into this for it to be reasonable. And then I feel I need to check myself and say, oh, I need to do more than this. This isn't enough. Like I have a very strong gut reaction when I watch something I made and think this doesn't cross the threshold to being like good enough. And then I have to redo it because it's just, I know it's not going to land. And I think that what we're talking about, the overall, is largely the experience of people having that gut reaction and saying, we're just going to do it anyway, just push it out the door anyway, which you could disagree with, but that's how it feels to me.
I think that one thing which plays part in content creation, for example, is if you look at there's basically two contending things which you have to keep in mind. Number one, you have how honest are you in your work and how do you come across towards your viewers, sort of thing. If you create work which is very well made into like the greatest refinement, and maybe 90% of the people won't notice, whereas 1% of the people that does notice, they will appreciate, because they will see that is something which they know 99% of the people won't notice, but they will notice.
Mm-hmm.
So when they're saying, hey, when they bring that to the light, through Reddit, through shared communities, for Discord, where like, hey, I was watching this video and there was someone in there which I know they expected no one to see, but if you look there, it was there, so that shows like intense dedication. Then that's something that can get highlighted, and your community, like viewers, can stick around for that and be more supportive of you because of the amount of time and attention you put into it. And the return is also true. If you really like slack on your time and attention and work on it, then people can turn away, where it's like, hey, you're not really putting much work into it. Why should I still care? On the other end of that spectrum, you have watch time is watch time. At the end of the day, when it comes to YouTube alone, regardless of other business avenues from which you can get money, which is like Twitch or merch or sponsorships or anything outside of that, if you just solely look at YouTube, the thing that YouTube cares about is watch time, is getting people to click on your video and watch the entire video for as long as possible, and watch as many videos of you for as long as possible. So whether you can generate that watch time with really badly edited videos or very, very well edited videos, at the end of the day, for YouTube, it doesn't matter. And for your YouTube revenue, it doesn't matter. And that also comes down to games. If they can sell, let's say, a game for $60, the game can be really brilliantly made, like Nier Automata, for example, I really, really love that. And I think it's a really amazing game, and whatever comes out next, I'll be really excited for that if that ever comes, something like that. But I think Cyberpunk came of Witcher 3, which is also really widely praised. But on the other hand, it's also just, for them, it's, if you can sell a $60 game, that's the focus at the end of the day.
Dumb question. Do you not know about Nier Replicant?
I did not.
Okay, fair enough. It's a prequel,
I was
right?
wondering, yeah.
I was like, what rock are you hiding under? Like, it's pretty much all over Twitter, Nier Replicant. Anyway,
Well, actually, like, for speaking of the rock I'm hiding under, there was like one quick bit of trivia. We're not going to get through that at all, but I do want to shout it out very quickly because Afima made an entire on the last episode of the Framecast an entire like list of trivia for every single episode of this year. I want to get into like a little bit of 2020 with you guys towards the end in like 50 minutes time. But one of the things that they said was in Framecast 29, we first spoke of like Cyberpunk's delay, and actually, Xeno, at that time, which was around January, you played only 45 hours of Nier Automata. I can't believe that that's so recent. I thought you played it like forever ago. That you'd been bugging me about it for like years. But that was the start of this year.
I'm pretty sure I played Nier Automata. God, when did I play it? 2018? 2019? Something like that. So like, trust me, I would have been bugging you since like it came out. I'm pretty sure I've been bugging Joey to play it.
But
fact,
Joey,
I'm
have
gonna
you not
move
played
on.
it?
I'm going
I've
to
not
bug
played it.
Xandy.
You gotta
Xandy,
play
you
it.
should play Nier Automata.
I've
There you
owned
go.
it for like 2 years, and it's just been sitting in my Steam library because I
How?
want to save it. I want to be able to focus on it.
It's
I
on
know
my
I'm
list
gonna
of
like
things,
it, and I
but,
want to be able to focus.
One thing I will say, talking like, actually, this is brilliant segue. I wanted to raise this, but I couldn't find a way to do it. With Nier Automata, it's an absolutely gorgeous experience. It's a phenomenal experience. But the port to PC is fucking garbage, right? And this is something that none of us have actually spoken about, is the fact that there can be such a strong following, such a heavy level fan base in Steam, on PC, on whatever, that will fix the faults that game developers don't fix. So there are mods and things to make Nier Automata like have a high texture pack and all sorts of stuff like this. And I do strongly recommend the pair of you, when you do go to play Nier Automata, make sure you have those mods installed, right? But
I'm gonna need a list of mods from you,
done.
Yeah.
But like, look at what's the name of the sodding? Like, how many Bethesda games come out and they're like an incomplete product, and it always takes some modding community to go, oh yeah, so we redid all of the textures for Fallout 4 and it made the game run like 60 frames per second better.
Okay, so I saw a meme like with yesterday that was like Bethesda fans are absolutely having the time of their lives with Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Because they're used to all the bugs and stuff once again. It's released.
It's like, hey, there's some actual gameplay in this game. It runs sometimes. Yeah.
Out of interest, are any of us Bethesda fans?
I guess.
Just love that on Xandy. Just love that
Hell
on Xandy.
no.
Hell no. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Anyway, when it comes to Cyberpunk, I'm curious as to how it rolls out in the coming months. I do think, actually, I think that your strategy, Xandy, is a really healthy one, where it's like, hey, let's wait. Let's wait a year and a half when you can buy the entire bundle plus all the DLCs and stuff for a discounted price, where you get all the updates straight away, and the gameplay experience will be fantastic. I can really appreciate that approach to it. But I think when it comes to Cyberpunk, what's going to be important is the next couple of months, how they like pick it up and how they move forward with it. And
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't think personally. I mean, I got my gameplay, like my first episode ended because I could not open my mobile phone because of a bug. So I hope that's fixed now. So I guess my gameplay got interrupted by it. But like, I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. It is also not, as the fanboys would claim, oh, a perfect game, everything's fine. You just got to upgrade your hardware, sort of thing. I think it's what it is now, and I'm really curious as to how it develops further on.
No, I was just gonna say I obviously I think my own way of playing games and waiting a long time so I get the best possible experience the first time is the best way to do it because that is what I do. I still recognize as a person who talks to people on the internet that most people won't do that. And I don't necessarily think they should. I think the best outcome is if the industry is influenced to change so that I don't have to do that.
Hmm.
I would like it if it was just pointless and unnecessary to wait this long to play a game. There is an amount of time at the moment that it is pointless and unnecessary to wait before you play something, and it would be good if that amount of time went down. And so anything that does that is to me like you can still make progress. The answer is not to have everybody wait a really long time. That doesn't work for the good studio developers that are making good games, and it also isn't ideal for us, the consumers. It's fine to be excited about things. Being part of the community experience for something has value. Not getting spoiled has value, you know. And I think that the main thing is going back to something Xeno said before, and then I saw Firetender say a response. I really liked the point that Xeno, you said, you know, developers, some people kind of have to do this. And I assume what you mean is like right now they have to do this because it's sort of the metagame of the industry. They can't just tell their board of directors, oh, well, we'll do this totally consumer friendly model that will make you way less money, but it's like good to do it for humanity. And the board of directors will be like, no, though, you can't do like that's not, we're not going to give you money for that. And Firetender was pushing back and saying like, yeah, but it's important to acknowledge that they it's not like physically impossible to get the game made without doing that. They're just not currently really being allowed to, perhaps, by their financial entity. And so the thing to do is to influence them so that they are, you know, able to do that, to do what Joey said, and perhaps give them the incentive that it is now a strategy to make a good game because you will get paid more money later. If people could buy merch for things. I'm reminded of the anime industry, where a show has trouble making more money because it's good. And so it's easier to just make a garbage fire that is a surefire bet because it was a light novel before. And that's just more reliable. And the solution would be for all of the anime studios to get Patreon accounts. And I don't know, but I sort of feel like I'm tempted to say that is what I would prefer for everything. I feel like if everything was crowdfunded, it's perfectly acceptable to put your money where your mouth is, and that's kind of like the good form of pre-ordering, because you're kind of not pre-ordering. You're kind of post-ordering the last thing that group made that you
Yeah.
liked.
Mhm.
So if you know Sucker Punch makes Ghost of Tsushima and you like it, then you pre-order their next game, but what you're really doing is kind of tipping them or giving them an advance on because of the thing they already made that you like.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a lot safer. If you want to be able to pre-order, I don't understand why you'd want to be able to pre-order, but if you do, that is to me like the holy grail of pre-ordering that's actually good for the industry. So I don't know, make everybody get a Patreon account. Just Studio Trigger has a
I
Patreon
mean,
account.
I
will say, I think that. Sorry, go ahead.
not to be like the world's biggest cynic. I really want to believe that crowdsourced or crowdfunded platforms would do like developers and animation studios and all these different like projects really, really well. I want to just believe in that. But unfortunately, the cynical bearded bastard in me and out of me struggles with the notion that it just won't get corrupted by some fat cat publisher twat.
I mean, I also wonder when it comes to crowdfunding, maybe it's because of the way that the culture works now around crowdfunding that it's most of the time an independent thing, which 90% of the crowdfunding things are just people from their bedroom being like, oh, it could be fun if I made a game. Let me go and ask for $50,000, and then once I get that, let me go think more. But I have seen many instances on things like crowdfunded websites like Kickstarter or stuff, where people would say they were going to make something and then most of the time don't draw out a budget, and then when they draw out a budget and it was super successful, some of the most successful crowdfunded things were just horrible train wrecks because they just had no idea how to handle any of that, and most orders didn't get fulfilled. Or you would have budgets that would be made up of like, we're gonna get 20 red cameras, and then we're gonna get 15 Canon cameras, so we can vlog the entire adventure and get some ad revenue from that as well. And then we're gonna get all the CPUs and all of the software, which we don't know what we need, but we're just gonna need it. I think that when it comes to the idea of crowdfunding, I think that in the good sense, we're thinking about something maybe akin to Warframe, where it's like it's a live ongoing game by an independent publisher or an independent developer, where if you like it, you can give them money and they can put that money back into like developing the game. However, I think on the other hand, what you might also get with a lot of crowdfunding is that it will result in a lot of projects which are very hastily set up, and because of that, because people just don't know what they're dealing with, it's just going to be an utter train wreck because they don't know how to handle money or how to plan anything, and it will just be more bad than good.
I think I gotta stop you, because I think that that's down to the developer. I think that it is reasonable to expect an established developer to be able to handle their money. I think that that's a reasonable expectation. Also, I think with regard to like having things that are kind of crowdfunded, especially, I really like what Xandy said about how like if you really like you really like Ghost of Tsushima, so you go and like pre-order their next game, but it's really that's really intended to be like a tip for their last one. I'd say that I don't think, and this kind of goes back to what Xeno said about somebody corrupting it, but I think that a developer that has really kind of mastered that is Blizzard, where they have so many things that like you can purchase this one, like if you pre-order like an expansion for WoW or whatever, you also get this skin in Heroes of the Storm and this special thing in StarCraft, and what you get all this other stuff for all their other games, which kind of, for other developers, like for example with CD Projekt Red, if they were to do something like that, they might do something where, like, say if you order this DLC for CyberPunk, you also get this gun in The Witcher that is like The Witcher doesn't have guns, but here's a gun now, or vice versa. Like I think that it is not a terrible idea for developers to start offering things where it's like, hey, here's all these bonus things. I don't know why I'm holding this. Here are all these bonus things in some of our other games, like some extra some skins or like extra like little mini DLCs or whatever. But if you want to do that, if you want to support this developer, here's a way that you can do it, and here's some cool stuff that you can get, and then the developer is in charge of like taking that money and putting it towards whatever their next project is.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify, responding to the concerns that it would get corrupted, and this idea that some companies have sort of already done this, that I am intentionally being a little idealistic. Obviously, it's not perfect. Obviously, the temptation is there if people like basically pre-order by funding your next project because of your previous one. The temptation is always there to jump ship and make something bad and then just cash in. And you've burned your reputation, you burn those bridges, but like it's a lot of money, for sure, of course. And the problem is there that you need to establish this process in the first place. Like if you're going to invest in their next project, how do you get their first project to be something honest that you want to invest in? The problem is getting it to be established, but I don't think it's reasonable to say it's not it's a strategy that would never work just because it's hard to imagine how it would come about, because there are lots of things like that would be good if only they could come to pass. And it's a matter of like, but how would that get started, rather than like, would that be a good thing if it worked? It would. It's just a matter of obviously it's impractical. If it's just impossible, it's inconceivable that it would get started. But I think it's important to consider whether it would be a good thing if it could start working. And Xeno, when you say but they'll still be a fat cat who exploits it. Yeah, and they'll stop getting funded. Like in the short term, that will be bad, but over the course of time, the audience has the ability to use their input to affect how the developer behaves in some way. And I do think that making that more direct is good. That's all I'm trying to say. I don't think it's wrong to be cynical about that. That's totally reasonable.
I think it's important to bring up that one of the biggest tools that we as consumers have these days is brand loyalty, right? Or like a dislike of a brand based on past experience, right? Like it will take a whole hell of a lot to get me to buy an EA game, just because they've made so many mistakes. They've shown so many time and time again that they're gonna make some really shitty decisions. And because of that, it will take a whole hell of a lot. I mean, it's not to say that I wouldn't. It's not to say that I couldn't be convinced to buy an EA game.
But
But
it would
it's
take
just
a lot. Yeah.
yeah. And I think I'm hesitant to spend money on Blizzard products after Warcraft 3 Reforged and Boats for Azeroth and stuff. Like it's just I think that's one of the most powerful tools that we as consumers have to kind of to it's putting your money where your mouth is.
Yeah. I think
Um,
bringing in like a completely out of gaming world topic sort of thing. Last week there was a bit of a controversy around Nvidia, the graphics card supplier, who had cut off one of the people, like one independent reviewer called Hardware Unboxed, because they didn't like their reviews, and it was a big scandal where it was just the PR head of PR just sent an email where it was like, well, you don't see it the way that we gamers and the rest of the industry do, and unless your editorial direction changes, we will not supply you with anything anymore. And that got reversed because it was a bit of a shit show there. But one of the things which I think the reason why I bring this up was that on like Linus Tech Tips had a really good one show where they talked about that, and one of the things that was brought up is that this entire idea of fanboys and being a fan of a company is just a really ridiculous thing, because a company does not have your best interest in mind, and like having your judgment of products be clouded by, oh, I like this company, is one of the most ridiculous things, where you should just look at the product as it is and buy the product as it is, because companies will also sell you the product as you a consumer and not as you a consumer which they like or they don't like, because it's just a company with just a product. And this entire idea where there are certain graphics cards fanboys or certain studio fanboys that will give things a pass because, oh, we like this. Like, no, it's just look at it what it is and judge it by what the product is and how you like it. And I do think that caution, I would even go as far to say that the caution that you say when it comes to EA games is something which I think is actually good, where the danger is even more with games with studios which you like, where I would say, even especially if you like something, watch out even more, because that might even cloud your judgment even more to like actually spending money on something which might not be good, whereas the reverse might be, hey, I might wait with spending money on something which might actually turns out to be good, so I'll get it later on.
But to go back on what Xandy was saying towards the start of this, and I think this will be my final statement, is that with so little media to make a judgment on, the reviews don't come out before the actual product does. The reviews come out afterwards, because the companies want the marketing hype to drive your decision. They want their reputation to drive your decision. I knew more about Tesla than any other car manufacturer out there because of Tesla's reputation. I have no interest in buying a Tesla car, but from everything I've heard, they're a really good manufacturer. And when you've got nothing to work on to whether or not the product you're going to buy is a good product, all you have to work on is the reputation.
Actually, are we all right with wrapping this topic up a little bit? Is there any closing statements that you still want to get to? Anything that still needs to be said?
I had one last thing that was just about how I think the one constant problem with criticism in every field is talking about the causes as you see them in the world, but avoiding sort of like the root that those things come from. In other words, criticizing what happens, which is that people still pay for games even if there's a good reason to believe or be suspicious they're not complete. That's the problem, but it doesn't enable those people to fix what they're doing wrong. Like, and I am saying to you, the viewer, don't do that. But I have not yet said what should you do to stop doing that, you know? And I feel like that thing, which is definitely a topic for another time in depth, but in short, is that people need to choose games deliberately. I really like, specific things in games. I like a wide variety of things, but they're specific. And I don't want to just play any game. I find myself not enjoying games that are perfectly good because the thing I want is very specific. And that might sound bad to you, but I think it's good because it means that I can look at a game and learn about a game and see objectively, does this have the things I want? I'm not going to play this because it looks cool. Because if it looks cool but it's not fun, like, what will my life be like playing this game? Do I want that? And I feel like people don't think about that, and they should. You should. You should think about whether you really want this to be a part of your life, whether you'll really feel better that way. And I think that process would cause people to think twice about a lot of these games and think, do I really want to go through? Do I really want my unit of time I'm spending playing? Cyberpunk is kind of a bad example, but let's just use it. Playing Cyberpunk 2077. Do I want that to be now, but a little worse than it would be in a year, or in a year? Wouldn't you rather have your life be more dense with good? But yeah, again, the bugs can be fun. It's kind of a bad example specifically, but that kind of thing. And I feel like taking that approach and just being more demanding as a consumer is not so bad. I think that strikes a good balance between studios are people, artists are people that reliably make things that you might like. So to totally ignore them is bad, but you shouldn't. Yeah, again, what Michelle said, the idea of like you like, EA or something. It's like, why? What do you mean? Like who? Like you don't, like you think you do, you don't. It's not a human. It's this strange cyborg entity in the collective unconsciousness. You do not like them. They are not a befriendable entity. So I don't know. I think thinking of it that way, I just wanted to say something actionable at the end. That's all.
Yeah.
Cool. Should we move on?
Yeah, let's move on, because I did want to make this a little bit more of a special Framecaster thing, because it's the last Framecast we do in 2020. So I also wanted to take a look back at like 2020 and see what 2020 has actually brought for us, and like do a little bit of reflection. I have prepared the special 2020 awards, but I'm kind of wondering. Let me see time. Actually, let's go over 2020 for like each of you. What is something? And like I'll probably start. I also haven't thought much about this in advance, so like I'm pretty much starting to think about it right now as well. So let me pad this out a little bit. But what is something when it comes to 2020 which you have done or experienced? So like something which you've done with your content, with your channel, or with yourself, or like you've experienced for the games you played, or just in real life. What is something which has really stood out for you this year? I think that for me, actually, this has been the first full year of Framecast, and it's been the one full consistent thing that we've done. And if I go through what we have done this year in the Framecast, I cannot believe we started at 28. I think at the start of the year, we might have still been making Framecast highlights videos, which feel like ages ago. And then we also had the Temtem encounter with our one creator who we met for this one podcast, and then we had a bunch of guests on. We had like Xandy and I did one separately. We had I did one with Cole. We also had Xeno a couple times, and Laws for the Warcraft Forever Forge scenario. And I think when it comes to 2020 is something that I really take away from this year, where it's been a really good full solid year of Framecast, and I've really enjoyed it myself. So anything?
I've got one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got one. Right. So it's not out yet. Joey knows what this is. We're working on something together for my channel. And I have finally learned how to do green screen stuff in Sony Vegas properly. Right. And it is intense. He's laughing and everything. But to me, it's just like, I fucking made it. Yeah. Anyway. It's not coming out till next year, though.
Oh. How many more days?
I want to do it with a good mic.
Oh, yeah. Not till he's on the good mic.
Yeah, that's what I'm on the good mic.
It was like, what did he just say? So my biggest thing, I haven't used it for a whole lot of stuff. I've mostly just done a couple of like VFX tests and stuff with it. But I got a fancy schmancy background and some like proper lights and stuff, and a proper camera and stuff, and
Ooh.
made a couple of things with it that I'm really quite excited about, and it opens up a lot of opportunity to do other stuff that oh my god, I've got stuff. I've got some stuff in the works that it's not out there yet, but it's kind of like with Xeno's thing. Like I'm putting some stuff together that I'm super excited about, that I wouldn't be able to do without some of this actual like physical things. But yeah, that's probably been the thing that has been most exciting for me.
Yeah, mine is not like these things. Probably the Helminth system.
Oh.
We supposedly play Warframe, and the Helminth system, man. I had trouble getting my framework series, my build and loadout series for every Warframe in the game going for years, partially because a bunch of stuff went down in the world this year, for example, but partially because the game changed a lot, frequently enough that it would have been silly. I would have had to go back and remake everything. Melee 3.0 is a good practical example of something that would be kind of silly to go through making a thing for every Warframe, and then they're going to radically change this once, or I think it's a radical change. And right around the time that I got time to make Framework, finally, they added what is probably the best possible addition to it, which allowed me to actually make something for a lot of Warframes. There were plenty in the cast that I had like 3 builds for, and there were plenty where I didn't really have anything to say about. And I feel like now it just gives them all that baseline thing that you could talk about, that baseline way you can riff on each one. To a lesser extent, I would also say like Hades and Genshin Impact are games that are fun for buildcraft, the way I define it, in a lot of ways that are different from Warframe, and those came out this year. So I don't know, like overall, I think the things I wanted in video games came out in spades this year. I'm pretty happy with that part of my life overall. It was good. It was a good time to be doing this as a job. Yeah, we were working from, to some degree at least, working from home during an unprecedented global pandemic. Dodge that bullet.
Yeah.
To some extent, for each of us to different extents, I'm sure. But yeah, that's the obvious one, but
Mm-hmm. All right. Actually, Xandy, I don't know if you're able to have this at hand, but do you have your Kalimba at hand somewhere?
I do. I have a few of them.
Oh, nice.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Yeah, I also started this year was a year that I began the long and arduous path toward re-becoming the best Kalimba buildcraft YouTuber.
Yes.
On YouTube. Some people will be aware that I made a Kalimba video 5 years ago that got like 10 views, and then it got re-indexed because of all my success making Warframe videos. And that video has like 200,000 views now or something. It's like one of the most popular Kalimba tutorials on the internet. And it's like not good or long or complete. I made it just like as an experiment 5 years ago when I was deciding what to make. And now it's, yes, some people have watched that video now. I heard. And I do eventually want to, Kalimba is a buildcrafty instrument. It's an instrument where you move the tines on the thing to be notes of a scale, and then you can just play them in a rhythm back and forth with your thumbs, and you can kind of build craft music theory into yourself. You don't need to be able to on the fly know which intervals you would like to play that will sound good. You can build craft the instrument to just do it to some degree. Obviously, as a student of music theory, talking to a few other people that know about music theory, it's a little more complicated than that, obviously, but it's not. You can make music on the thing, and so it'll be a few years, but we'll watch this space for 700 days, and I'll get back to you about it.
All right, so the reason I asked is because I've been working hard, but I couldn't make like a little tune to like start out with the 2020 awards. So if you could play just like a little bit, I'd like doesn't matter what, but just so we could say it's time for the 2020
Poor guy, you're
FrameCast
putting him on the
awards.
spot to do this.
I mean, he could just do like one little like it's just hit it once or something.
Just start.
The problem is they're not tuned. Like you can, I'll pluck a few of these, and they're like,
That is perfect. That is perfect.
yeah,
There we
they're
go.
super out of tune. Like
Yeah.
I haven't had time. I've been trying to. My cats have ringworm. I've been busy.
Oh shit. Anyway,
Oh.
I mean that suffices. Show. Welcome to the 2020 FrameCast Awards. I wanted to go over this year and go over a set of very unique awards for some very unique people. These awards here exist only in name because of budget issues. Like I can't really go out and afford to like buy trophies and give it to you. So
I want a plaque.
You'll have it in name only. These awards will be awarded for people that did something very rewarding in 2020. So let's get into them. Also, give our time constraints. So the very first one that we have is we have the award for I am new and what the hell am I watching? So a common thing as a YouTuber is that you will have new viewers constantly find your channel. Supposedly. I've never actually like really discovered that, but like apparently it happens. Like new viewers constantly find your channel. But when they do find your content for the very first time, they will have no clue and no idea as to who you are and what you actually do. So your channel should be like have a friendly low threshold for people to like come in and don't scare them away with some really strange stuff. And that is what this award is for. This award is given to the person that was able to do this the least. So in other words, the piece of content that will make you say, I am new to this channel, and what the hell am I watching? So, nominations are, number one, let me make sure that I have this correctly. Here we go. Number one is right here, for Xandy and how to suck in Warframe.
You can suck them right in the screen. That's good, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm also not talking about chorus second ability and snare. Yeah, that sucks a lot too. It can sometimes be more useful than larva because it sucks enemies together while they're standing up. And that leaves them vulnerable to headshots. Larva suck.
Hear that little at the end of it? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It is, as always, the immediate topic that jumps to mind for anyone looking for Warframe videos. So that's the first of the nominations. The second of the nominations comes to Joey. Needs no explanation at all. I promise you, you'll understand this straight away. Let's watch that one more time. What happened here, Joey?
I think we did it on a dare. I think we put that together on or just somebody. I'm blaming Pixel. It was Pixel's fault. Pixel.
Oh man, oh man, oh man! And the final nomination that we have comes actually from my channel, which was some kind of weird fever dream. I don't know what was going on there.
Ooh. Now that is what we call an epic gamer move.
My name is Jeff.
I would say that the pandemic got to me. However, the winner actually is Xeno with this amazing episode from The Arbiters. Nothing beats this.
RPG. Hi,
Oh my
Xeno.
fucking
Have you heard
God.
of Raid Shadow Legends?
They're your new sponsors.
Oh, fucking hell.
Hear that? Picture this,
video is
boys.
brought to you by Xenogelion.
As in, I'm mean?
No, like the Amino app.
What the fuck is the Amino app?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Wait,
We
need to stop. We're gonna get in trouble. We're gonna get in trouble.
Are you doing like a sponsored segment in my video?
Shh, you can't be so obvious.
Oh, it's like an Ambio.
Ambio.
I have an Ambio collection. I am a big fan of the Nintendo, and I have a big Ambio.
Oh
I
my
have Club
fucking
Patch.
god.
I
I
have
didn't
Mario.
know you meant amiibo. Fucking Christ.
You don't have the
We are bad people.
Yeah, you are.
So it's like an Ambio thing.
I'm gonna shit my pants.
That was one hell of an episode.
Oh, so just to add on, like why my voice was pitch shift up. So during this episode, right, my food is delivered, right? So I said to the guys, right, give me 2 seconds. I need to go get my food from the front door and everything. And while I was away from my computer, I think it was Thalion proposed. Oh, okay. Michelle proposed that Xeno never checks the episodes before he actually sends the audio to Joey. So Joey, please pitch shift up Xeno, right? And of course, before I uploaded it onto YouTube, I didn't check the audio. I didn't know he did this. Until I think it was like 15 minutes before it was due to go live. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Xeno, there's no need to be so modest. We all know that you can just reach that voice pitch without help. You don't have to. It's we know Joey didn't need to help. It's fine. I'm
pretty sure I can, but yeah, let's
give him a hand.
Oh my god.
Anyway, thank you, Joey, very much for coming through on that request. That was one of the most amazing Arbiter episodes. Okay, so moving on because we have a couple more to go. The next award is for the weirdest revelation. So 2020 has been the years where hundreds of people got stuck at home, giving them all more than enough time to play games, watch series, and of course dig up dirt on people, because what else are you going to do with your free time? This year has been full of people being exposed for things, and the people in this stream are no exception. So who has been exposed for the weirdest shit? That is what this award is. So nominations include... let me see if I have the right thing. There we go. That's the thing. Nominations include, number 1, Xenogelion. So, Joey, DK, what did Xeno hold over your head in order for you guys to do this now?
I'm not allowed to tell you, otherwise I can't be guaranteed the safety of my parents. So.
Yeah.
So, apparently, Xeno threatening, doing something behind the scenes to make people do his bidding. And it doesn't end there, because the second nomination is also Xenogelion doing something similar.
For me, it was pretty simple. He said that if I didn't join, he would post the feet pics that he took of me when I roomed with him last year. He would post them to ratefeet.com. And for me, it was pretty simple. He said that if I
wonder what happens with you guys on TennoCon. But Xeno is not the only one that's nominated for this, because we also have Joey pretty much talking about feed at OnlyFans. That OnlyFans account.
We can't have that. So
actually, Joey, no. I'm gonna draw a line right here. I'm gonna have to say, hold on, because I know that this is just like you trying to like advertise like slowly your OnlyFans, which is probably coming up next week.
Oh god. I was like,
so
you've been exposed.
I just want to say, oh god, dude, how horrible that would be. Please send me the link the moment that you create an OnlyFans, so I know where not to look. Okay.
I'm still waiting on Xeno's OnlyFans.
Oh.
What? Why would I have it already? Moving on.
The winner, of course, is none other than me and Xandy for this shocking revelation that we do in fact enjoy.
You like tentacle porn?
Yes, I do like tentacle porn.
No.
I'm not afraid to admit that I love tentacle porn.
That's the real approach. Yes, I do like tentacle porn. There you go. I like tentacle porn. Yes, I do. That's right. That's right. That's how you get them. That's how you get them.
What was the context? I gotta know.
What do you mean, what was the context? Xeno, is people just you what do you mean was the context? I thought that Michelle was gonna ambush me and say that the winner was me this stream for telling you that I drank a 36% fiber soda and had to go to the bathroom. So yeah, but that was, I mean, that was just like yeah. I mean, Michelle, go ahead. Why don't you explain? For me, there was no context. This is normal.
I mean, it was just
no context.
It was just the framecast that you weren't there. Like, I mean, we're talking about topics, and like, are you surprised we're talking about regular topics?
Okay.
What else are we supposed to talk about? Like, this is like the number one thing on our minds when we're in a framecast together.
Yeah, it's just two young men sharing in their love for tentacle porn on a podcast.
Ah, yes, two young men. Such a wholesome world.
Maybe I should have like named the framecast it that way. Maybe the views would have gone way up.
Yeah,
Oh my
man.
God.
Two young
Yeah,
men sharing their love for tentacle porn.
That's the real way to do it. Xeno, I don't know what the context was. I have no idea. I have to take responsibility for my actions, so I have to pretend there wasn't any.
I hope I never learn.
We can go back and watch it. But anyway, let's go to the third award, which is the Worst Driver of 2020 award. So this is more of a niche category, I must admit, since not all games include driving, and I don't think most of us here drive rather frequently. However, if one wants to partake in traffic, the public safety does require us to obey traffic laws and drive appropriately. So this year we have officially decided, and with me, I just mean myself, I have decided for all you guys, but you'll agree because you are here, that the winner of this award will actually have their driver's license taken away because of bad driving skills. So let us go and take a look at the nominations for Worst Driver of 2020.
Just Xandy just sliding off the screen.
Here we go.
I wanted to go this way, so Excuse me, sir.
Oh.
Excuse me. Excuse me, sir. That happened twice. By the way. Please stop. Can we please stop the car?
I have to say that driving on a bike is indeed, very tricky. But I do give you points for that well-executed landing. It's just unfortunate that they did not stop. They did not notice you.
That's how I get around in real life, by the way. That's why I don't drive much.
I mean, you'll just drive a little,
game,
and then
yeah.
you're just being driven for the rest of the journey.
Yeah, exactly.
Very economical. Very
Oh my
economical.
God.
Hope you have a good insurance. All right, so nominee number 2 also comes from someone that can really well control their bike. Even, I mean, you can only drive a bike, so. What is speed? No, I want to write it. What is speed? How do I speed up?
How?
Apparently, this was not the speed up button. This was the dash button, but I didn't know that for the entire stream. Calibrating weapons. Also, hover bikes don't really tend to hover that well. I'm going now. I'm going someplace. There.
Oh my God.
Third contender for the Worst Driver 2020, very surprisingly, is. Oh yeah.
Wait, what?
Oh, I know this one.
Given appropriate space on the road is very important.
I'm gonna try to be respectful of his feelings, chat. Shit.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, hopefully, we have a fourth contestant that can tie the race, or Joey might be branded as a worst driver, or maybe me. Who knows? Let's see the final nomination. Oh, here we go again. What is this sudden, still not knowing what the sprint button is.
Sort of oh my God.
Here we have a good example. That's me. My dad. Oh my God! Stop doing it! What are you doing? It's so weird. What the fuck? Sometimes it's just suddenly jerks to the left.
Did someone tell you to press the button?
They told me later on, afterwards, because they just like to see me suffer, and I appreciate that.
So were you actually trolled by someone, or did you just not look up the controls?
No, I figured that the bumpers were speed, and it just wasn't, and it just made me jerk. I did find it later on.
I can see so much hope in the way you were driving. There's so much hope in that method of operation that maybe this time it will work.
Yeah. Well, at some point it stopped jerking to the left and started jerking to the right. So I thought I was making improvements. I was like, if I just stay in the middle, that will be great. So the winner, of course, is still inconclusive. So let's move on to the nomination of one of the most important nominations, one of the most important awards, is the Best Warframe Video of 2020. Now, this is a really important one because, as we all know, we are all sort of Warframe creators. We've made Warframe videos, and it's a very fierce battle because we have very different styles, we do very different things, and it's really, really tough to judge. So this took a really long time to get to the award. We have taken everything into consideration, and let's just like not even get to the nominations because there aren't any. It was just very straightforward as to who made the best Warframe video of 2020.
Timestamps are in the description. Thank you for watching my full review of everything Barrow has ever brought. So there isn't really a straightforward way to show
2-hour review of Barrow Kitir. How can this not be the best piece of Warframe content?
Inventory order.
Didn't he one take that too?
Fully timestamped.
So congratulations.
Sorry,
Is it didn't you one take that as well?
Yeah, no, it was one take as well. It was not edited. I sat down, I recorded it, I uploaded it, and it's I averaged about 30 seconds per item, something like that. So pretty good.
That is insane.
Just saying.
For the sake of time, let's move on to the next award, which is actually an unusual award. This award is called the Most Used Stopword Award, and this award is not awarded to anyone, but rather to a word, because in this Framecast we speak a lot of nonsense. But aside from that, we also speak some stop words, which actually mean nothing. But we do use them a lot. The most common ones are right, or like. And I'd like to have you, like, just hazard a guess, like, which one would be the most common? And, well, which one of these would you think would be the most common that you use in this year?
Like. I bet you bottom dollar it's like.
Yeah, right. Especially, like, the problem... Wow, okay. Just the problem with like is that it can be, if you count every like is often used correctly in syntax much more than those other ones, you know? Mm-hmm. So,
but even so, I know I've called you out on the whole thing, and you've been trying not to use all the time.
Well,
so I can easily see like being the segue word.
I think we need to we need to start focusing on next year. So was used in this entire year of Framecast 4,317 times, with the most in a single Framecast it being used 389 times. Right was used in total this entire year 5,488 times, with the most in a single Framecast 241 times. And like was used this year an entirety of 43,543 times, with the most in a single episode 2,340 times like being said. And if you want to know what that sounds like, here is a clip.
Oh shit!
Oh no!
Oh no!
Did you go through that one episode and just cut all the likes?
That's just the first 10 minutes. There's 2 hours and 40 more minutes of this.
Fucking God!
Yeah, man, we had the wrong idea. When Xeno said that, I was like, oh no, wait. How much of the stream was that?
That was legit the first 10 minutes. So gotta be on point a little bit there. Gotta watch out. Next year, let's say like a little bit less.
How long did it take you to edit that down?
I was intending to do an entire Framecast, and then I was like working like it got towards an hour, and I was let's just leave it at this, because I was also intending to maybe do some of like right and so I was like no, I'll just leave it at like, because this is already way too much. But it's just like every sentence and every response. But well, let's move on, because we have 3 more awards to get to, and then that will be it. So the next award that we have is called the Award for the Best Storytime. One of the fan favorite parts of the Framecast is Xeno's favorite storytime episodes or parts, when like the storytime, Xeno storytime, if you don't know what that means, basically Xeno storytime is the point where Xeno tells a story. I don't know if you expected anything else. It's pretty much self-explanatory. So here are some nominations for the best story times of the year 2020. There we go. Let's go first off with this beautiful thing, talking about this thing called an availability zone.
I was going through the tutorials earlier today for studying for an exam for this cloud certification bollocks, right? Man, if anyone from my work actually hears this, they probably get really pissed off at me. Sorry, I'm angry. I'm angry at what I discovered, right? I was going through this one lesson that was like, I don't know, 5-6 minutes long. I was so confused. Like, they're talking about availability zones? What the fuck is an availability zone, right? So you've got regions, availability zones, and edge locations. Then worst of all, availability zones, right? I went over the tutorial so many fucking times. I was like trying to rack my head. What the fuck is an availability? It's a fucking server, right? Fuck. I was going through the tutorial.
So,
oh god.
Changing names which need to be changed. But there is more, because of course Xeno can't do the Framecast without talking about his most favorite game, or I mean, like, that's already out of date, but like...
I'm gonna guess, World of Warcraft.
Oh.
I don't know about anyone else. I think Paimon is the fucking best. I love how she says what I think. It's just like, you know, like, oh, you need a glider's license. We haven't needed one before. It's like, we've not needed one before. Or like... So yeah, I don't know about anyone else.
So yeah, oh, wrong one. I keep forgetting that, like, you guys are mixed up for me. But yeah, so those are some of your story times. I can't decide a winner. I don't think we'll have to leave that to the public. But people really enjoy it, and I enjoy your story times too. So then let's go to a new award that I've just come up with, which I call the award is the most Joeys in a single frame, which speaks pretty much for itself. It's which frame could contain the most Joeys. This award was inspired when Joey refreshed his new stream setup.
It's a child. It's my child.
How many do we count here?
So I made some changes to my setup and everything.
All of them.
Stuff around, you know. But I got the computers and stuff that were in one place. I put them in another place, and now here we are. Now I'm kind of breaking it in, which is cool. So we're not really doing anything in particular today, but this doesn't mean I need to work any less. It's a child.
Can I just check, Xandy? Have you gone to the toilet?
He might not have a microphone. He might not be able to hear us. I don't know. Oh, I see more Joey showing up. That is beautiful. Let's move on to our next nomination right here, which is I think this one should speak for itself. This one gets quite trippy though. Watch out.
Oh my god.
I'm still amazed with like how you did this, man. Like, you did him live as well, right?
Yeah. Well, sometimes. It depends on what we're doing.
All right. Well, the final nomination that we have for the most Joeys in a single frame is one that we were desperately told to actually clip. I might have misheard that, though.
Nobody clip this stream. Nobody clip this stream. You're not allowed to clip this stream.
Oh, no.
None of you are allowed to clip this stream. Don't do it. Don't do it. You better not do it. Nobody clip this stream.
We did clip it, and we did get it. Overall, the final winner for the most Joeys in a single frame is, of course, this frame right here.
Oh my God.
I don't believe there have ever been more Joeys in a single frame than right now.
We're gonna do it. We might as well do it.
Yay! Oh my god!
I think that's
right.
Wait a minute. Okay.
All right.
Okay, come on. Let's wrap
it up. We have two more to go. The most important ones are for the last two. With this one right here is our most covetous and prestigious award, which is called the Golden Cock. The Golden Cock is awarded to the person that behaved like the biggest dickhead this year. Nominations are. Let me go grab it right here. There we have it. The Golden Cock is right up top. The nominations are Xenogelion for calling Michel out during a game of Among Us.
Second game.
Yeah.
Immediately after, myself and Brad this again. And I did exactly the same trick. I killed Luz in exactly the same place, everything. But this time, I reported the body. It's like, someone's killed my buddy. I burst out like I couldn't. So I just outed myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget this. As everyone is like deafening and muting their microphones, I go like, "Good luck, Michelle." And was it no? Was it Nazis
No,
or Galad?
it was Galad. Galad.
Yeah, Galad. Yeah. He just turns around and it's like he just instantly calls an emergency meeting. Second game.
Yeah. That was a beautiful moment where Xeno was imposter. When we leave, he says, "Good luck, Michelle," even though I'm not imposter, and they just vote me out because they believe whatever he says.
I fucking loved it. Yeah.
All right, the next nomination that we have for the Golden Cock is Xeno and me for for screwing up the audio on the Framecast and then reassuring the audience that there is no way that this audio could ever be wrong.
Let's see. Here we have a little background footage. Oh, I see.
Oh God.
Here we have a little background footage. Oh, I see. Here we have
Shark
attacks. Here we have a little background footage. Oh, I see.
Beautiful game, Raph, by the way. Sadly, you can't hear our opinion on it.
Oh man, that can get quite big actually.
Oh yeah,
man,
like
that can
the
get
one.
quite
You
big.
can also make multiple floors. Oh yeah,
like
the one. You can also make multiple floors. Markiplier does it with his friends. I assume that our audience can't hear the audio.
No,
of the
there's no
trailer.
audio to it. There's absolutely no audio to it.
But instead, we can hear ourselves.
Yes. And of course, the winner of the Golden Cock this year is. I mean, I'm gonna have to accept that because, me calling up.
So
there we go.
Now it's Tyrannis. I wonder what Tyrannis is gonna do.
Tyrannis is imposter, by the way.
Tyrannis just killed the lights.
If you can't figure that out.
Smart thinking. Tyrannis right here.
Michelle, we can hear you.
Oh, so now it's now.
He did not win that game, thanks to me. Now, finally, we come to the final award of this evening, and this award is called the most controversial of 2020. So, the most controversial person of the year. In these times, pretty much anything can become controversial. However, I mean, slip-ups are bound to happen. However, controversies can happen in several degrees. I mean, you can just have one person mad at you. You can have two people mad at you. You can have 3 people mad. I mean, you can piss off an entire community, and then you can lose an opportunity because of your controversy, or you could lose a business relationship, which is pretty much the highest level you can go. You can lose a business relationship, or also called a partnership, because you're so controversial. So let us go take a look at who was the most controversial person of this entire year. Oh yeah, I mean, I think we all lost Warframe partnership.
I see what you did there.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining in on this episode. We went a little bit over time, but thank you so much. I've had a really great 2020. Have a great rest of your 2020. We have 2 more weeks to go, but it was the final Framecast. Joey, thank you so much for tuning in on the anime cast and joining us for that. For those shenanigans, Xandy, thank you so much for joining in on the one time that Xeno can join in, and we had a really cool topic about Warframe, which I'd love to go in depth about on another episode as well. Andrew, thank you so much for every single week that you sit here with me and talk about some random banter stuff in games and media and stuff. I really enjoyed it. Thank you all.
Okay, thanks, bye!
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 Shall we end with the
Bye,
intro?
thanks for
Let's
having
end with the intro.
Let's end with the intro.